But anyways, so there are some basic things that you should study, but there are some not so basic things that you should study before you begin any rituals or ceremonies. And one of those things is your background, your history. Where does your family come from? What blood flows through your veins? Ancestry and generational trauma, pain, generational curses, generational blessings, abundance, it's all very real. And so the more you know about yourself and who you are and where you come from will better help you understand certain aspects of maybe the magic that you're drawn to, or why you feel a certain way about a certain culture. All of those things are very influential in our practices, as well as any long-standing religion in the family, or if there's a major religion that your culture follows, because there are such things as closed practices. There are many things that I like to say, not everyone should practice everything, and not everything is meant for just anyone to practice. Having that connection to those certain bloodlines, ancestors, magical practices, ceremonies, rituals, it's all very important and sacred. And if you do not have the connection to those spirit guides, ancestors, practices, and so on, then a few things might occur. You might be unsuccessful. You might have the very opposite of what you need to happen. And you could cause some things stirred up within other realms that you won't understand or be ready for because of what you're messing with. And it's always very important, and in really just common sense, to respect other people's very sacred practices. And unless you're invited into certain circles or you find a mentor to guide you, then it's okay to not to have to practice everything, guys. Like, it's really not. In fact, the more of a niche that you find for yourself and the more connected to a few things that you are, the more successful and powerful and blessed and abundant you will be in those things. And just because you practice one thing and somebody else practices another thing doesn't mean that you guys can't be friends. You can't be family. You can't practice together. Again, that's where communication and understanding comes in, on how to combine and balance certain practices and beliefs. Another thing is you should study crystals, stones, herbs, flowers, plants, especially if it's anything that you are accumulating in your home. It is really helpful to understand and know the energies, the frequencies of those things, of their purposes, of their benefits, because those things vibrate very highly. And if you have the wrong thing in the wrong area for the wrong situation, it could do the opposite, once again, of what you're trying to create. The internet is a great resource and tool. And there's no reason for anyone to not study something. You can listen to podcasts and audiobooks, you can watch videos, you can read blogs and articles, you can connect with other groups and communities that are more practiced and more experienced than you, that can guide you and answer questions, and so on. There are so many resources in the world for us to become more knowledgeable and have a deeper understanding of the things that we are pursuing, okay? Books are even better. There's my puppies. Where you guys been? Books are incredible because once they're written, they're written. They can come out with new editions later on with revised text. But the fact is, that information will still be there. the internet might still be there too, but people can go and change things and manipulate things incredibly easily. A lot of books will actually have cited sources in the back, so that way you can actually find where they learned that information, and you can go even deeper. Interpreting. Everyone has a different calling or ability. I hope you understand what I'm saying. And some people do wax readings, some people do tea readings, some people do palm readings. Those are also things you can study before you start doing these things on a high level or for other people. Practicing on yourself is fantastic. And if you are doing a reading for someone else, then let them know that you are practicing, and don't be afraid to seek help, and let them know that you are learning and you want to confirm your intuition. Intuition is a very powerful thing to follow if you learn to listen to it and understand it. It will rarely lead you astray once you learn how to communicate with the spirit within. Okay, I see too many people doing spells or candle burnings or wax readings, egg cleanses, and then taking a bunch of pictures or recording the whole thing and putting it on the internet. And then being like, can anybody tell me what this means? Can anybody interpret this for me? I understand everybody has to start somewhere. But again, that goes back to studying things before you start practicing. And rather than putting it out there for a whole community of other inexperienced people to give you their opinion, find a small, tight community or a couple of people or even one person that can mentor you and that can guide you. It will be incredibly helpful and beneficial to your growth and your development as whatever it is that you are pursuing. Okay, once you learn to interpret things for yourself, your power is going to level up. I mean, you're going to level up. If you don't understand, I've had people say, oh, I did this and that, I didn't know what I was doing, but it was a cool experience. Then why were you doing it? If you didn't know what you were doing, but you had intentions are great. Intentions are fantastic, but if you're doing it with a shallow mind and no understanding, then the likelihood of whatever you're trying to manifest or release is not going to stick. Especially if you don't know what deities or entities or energies that you're working with, those things could backfire. Okay? It all boils, I could say so much more. It boils down to study. Reading brings knowledge. Knowledge brings understanding. Understanding brings the power to do great and mighty things. Okay? Responsibly. So, that's all I'm going to say for now. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.